Well, let's bring in our panel, Joe Moreno and Wills Robinson. Joe, what did you make of seeing Kamala Harris out there again? And is she really a credible future presidential candidate again?
If she is, the Democrats are in real trouble. I mean, she was a terrible candidate. She would have been a terrible president. And I think the Democrats have to really take a step back and say, they don't have a bench, and they're in trouble. I mean, from a perspective of a conservative, the Democrats are two outstanding politicians in terms of Bill Clinton and then Barack Obama, who are almost back to back, right? Joe Biden was sort of a mediocre guy, but he stuck around long enough and got the job. But beyond that, I mean, who do they have to run? So, I mean, they'll lose 49 states if they run Kamala Harris. So, I mean, good luck, but they really should be thinking about, like, wow, we need to build our bench. We need to figure out who we're going to run for the next 4, 8, and 12 years. The Republicans have Marco Rubio, they have Ron DeSantis, they have J.D. Vance. Like them or hate them, they have young talent that's waiting in the wings. Democrats don't.
Wills, courage is contagious. Is that a slogan that you can see on T-shirts and hats in the next presidential cycle?
I mean, I'm not a political campaign operative, but if they went with that, then, yeah, the Democrats wouldn't really be in the best position. The Democratic Party at the moment, there's no unified direction, they don't really have a standout candidate. People are talking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They're also talking about an NBA player in Stephen A. Smith. And, no one is really taking the prospect of Kamala Harris running again too seriously. They don't know where we're going. They don't know, they don't know where they are going. And looking at, listening to Kamala's speech last night, it's all still focused a lot on Trump. And that is the problem that they got into in the last election, constantly focusing on Donald Trump. And in the end, he won. So now they need to get together a message, and they need to stick with that message and then find a good candidate, which is going to take them a long time because no one is rising to the top. And with the tariffs at the moment, the economy is starting to become a bigger issue, which is one of the reasons why the Democrats lost. So that's what they need to potentially latch onto rather than talking about the fear and hatred of Donald Trump, which, does rile supporters up, but it doesn't rile a whole country up. So someone needs to take the grip, take the Democrats in their hands and really shake them and say, look, where are we going?
Well, someone who's trying to do that, I think, right now is Bernie Sanders. He's speaking in Philadelphia, of course, on the progressive side very much of politics, AOC too, of course. Let's just have a quick listen to what he's saying. He's been talking about Medicare and Medicaid, I think.
Instead of giving billions of dollars to Netanyahu and his horrific war against the people of Gaza, we can cut military spending and build 5 million units of low-income and affordable housing.
Bernie Sanders there addressing some of his supporters in Philadelphia. I mean, it's a sort of slight peculiarity, isn't it, of the US system, Wills, in that you don't see necessarily people sort of immediately leading the party after a presidential run. It does take time to find those voices.
It is. I mean, you go back to the Republican primary. No one thought that Donald Trump could possibly be the candidate again. You look at the media in the UK as well, and he just rose to the top. And so there's, in terms of the party apparatus of the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, there's a lot of chaos going on there as well. The vice chair of the Democratic National Committee, David Hogg, wants to challenge a lot of sitting Democrats. And that is a strategy that is destined to either create more chaos or destined to fail. So if you have a leadership in the party that can't get itself together, then you can't really pick a candidate. So it may be that you have someone who just rises to the top on their own. Someone like Gavin Newsom, for example, already has the apparatus behind him to do that. Kamala Harris as well. J.B. Pritzker, who's one of the richest men, not just in politics, but in the country. So that's what you're going to see. And so you may have someone who just rises from the bottom, takes, as I said, the Democrat Party in their hands and say, right, I'm going to try this in 2028, whether it's running against J.D. Vance, whether it's running against Marco Rubio, or one of those conservative younger stars that are primed and ready. And that's unless Trump tries to run for a third term somehow.
Well, someone who is trying to do that is the governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, and she's taken a different track entirely, Joe, hasn't she? I mean, she's been in the Oval Office with President Trump. She was on the stage with him in Michigan on that 100 days marking celebrations, even the president calling her up to speak from the podium at that occasion. What do you think of her game plan?
That's impressive. And if I was advising the Democrats, exactly what I would say. I mean, look, it's tough to be in the minority, right? I get it. You don't have any power, really. But from a conservative perspective, the Democrats have so many natural advantages. They are trusted more on the environment. They are trusted more by labor unions. They're trusted more on issues like education and the tax code. Why wouldn't you embrace those things instead of constant anti-Trump warfare, right? Constant nasty rhetoric. So good for Gretchen Whitmer. Good for going in there and saying, you know what? I'm going to hold the line on things that are near and dear to me, but I'm reasonable enough to be able to at least break bread with the other side and find something we can agree on. Americans like that. So, that kind of action will actually put her far and apart from all of those other Democrats where they're so negative and all they can do is just attack the other side, which really puts people off and gives them no reason to vote for you.
And Wills, do you agree with that? Or does Gretchen Whitmer risk alienating some people if she's seen to cooperate at all with Trump?
Well, as we found in 2024, beforehand we thought it comes down to 7 swing states. Trump won all of them. And these are some people in one of her states, in Michigan, in somewhere like rural Michigan. Those are the people who are going to see and act like that, see people coming together for, say, a common good, talking and focused on moving forward and talking about prices or something like that. That is what these middle ground voters that will ultimately win election want to see.
Okay.
And they don't want Democrats to come and say, look, we just hate Trump. Sorry.
We're out of time. Great to talk to you both, Wills, Joe, Katrina. Thank you all very much. Bye from me. And